Hey YouTube, it's JP Dillon. I know it's been a minute, but I just wanted to do a short video. I'm still really not unpacked at all enough to have a full shop, so this will kind of be like a poor man's refoam job. Uh, this is just one of many places that's still just packed to the brim with boxes. I'm in my studio apartment on the property right now. Yeah, we'll do a video on the property later, but anyways. This is a Sansui sp-3000, and if you own a pair of these, you probably wonder why they don't have any bass, even though they've got this enormous woofer in them. And as you can see, when I push on this one, it has very to almost no give at all, even substantial pressure. And that's because the doping that they used on the paper pleated surrounds here turns into granite. It just gets super hard. It absorbs into the paper gets hard, and then the suspension is utterly worthless. So now this has a free air response of about 200 cycles, which is, yeah, not very good. So what we're going to do is cut out the old paper and replace it with a surround. And I'm using one for a JBL, I believe it's a 2235 or 2215. I think they're both the same. You can get these kits at Simply Speakers or whatever. This is just the foam. I do not have the glue that came with the kit, so we're going to be using some E6000, which is available anywhere, Walmart, whatever. A little more patience is required in setting it up, but it still works just the same, and it dries flexible, so you don't have to worry about it cracking or tearing the cone. But the first part of this all is we have to cut this away. And so I pried up all the trim pieces, which are laying over there. And my personal preference is really not to reuse them. You can if you want to, but I don't care. They're beauty trim, and they're going to be behind a grill, so what? So the tools in choice are the screwdriver here that I use to pry up the trim pieces, and also to take the grills off, because you will need a small, I think it's a number 0 Phillips to get the grills off. I've got a pretty sharp X-Acto knife. Here's my E6000. So let's get to it. And so the first thing I'm going to do is go right at where the surround meets the metal basket. And I'm just going to come at about a 30-degree angle and make an incision until it goes through like that. Angle my knife clockwise a couple degrees and just follow the metal basket. And just take your time. A nice sharp fresh blade is a must. And I'm just going to go around the entire perimeter. So I won't bore you with that, and I need better control of the knife, so let's fast forward a bit. Okay, once you get your edge free, then what you want to do is you want to make the incision just at the edge of the lip of the cone, where it starts to descend down into the paper surround. That's where you want to make your incision, is right along that edge. And you have to be very precise. So let me make a little incision and I'll show you where to cut. So you can see where the knife blade is. That's where you want to cut, is right at that edge, right where it starts to descend. Because that part of the paper is where the surround begins. And you can see it's darkened there because the goop that was the doping compound is still in the paper. So that needs to be cut all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll remove the paper surround, and you can see the difference in travel after you remove the old tight surround. Okay, now we got our surround cut free, and let me just reach underneath here, kind of pry this up. It's going to come apart as you take it out. You can see here it's very hard and brittle. Try not to let it fall down into where you're working. That's going to make it a little bit trickier to get at. But it's just cracking and crumbling apart. This is where it's nice to have two hands, and I'm trying to show you guys what it's all about. So a little bit tricky. And of course that's going to want to fall down where I don't want it to. Yeah, so there's the rest of it there. That hard, crusty stuff that just cracks as you press on it. So that can go in the trash. Now, take a look at how much this moves now. Remember how it would barely move at all? Look at that. I haven't gotten my sweet spot there in the voice coil yet, but there we go. So you can go all the way down to the neutral point. That's 3/4 of an inch right there. So you're missing all that excursion because the surrounds are all dried up and hard. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take the X-Acto again, and I'm just going to clean the surface here, go down at about a 45-degree angle, and just patiently go around the edge, being careful not to harpoon the cone you just took the surround off of, and clean all this up. So it's better to have two hands for that, but let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show you. Okay, so I scraped away most of this. I'm going to finish up a little bit, take these screws out, finish everything up, bring the speaker out so that we can manipulate it a little bit better. Okay, we got this up. We got the majority of the trim pieces, cardboard all cleaned off. There's a couple little loose bits here that I just need to pull free. This needs to be clean and level enough to adhere the surround to. So it may take you a couple of passes or tries. There's some corrosion here, but this should be good enough to stick everything to. Alright, so next we're going to take our E6000 and I'm going to put a bead of it around the very edge of the cone. I'm trying to hold this steady with one hand, and hold the camera is a little tricky, so yeah, I am a little bit shaky. And we're just going to put a bead of snot around the cone here. I don't hesitate to put this much on here because the foam surround will absorb it. And this is good stuff if you're in a pinch and you don't have your specialty speaker adhesive. The only drawback is it does take longer to dry. I'm used to the Springfield Speaker Black Professional Adhesive, which dries in about 30 seconds to a minute. And then I'll put a second bead around the middle plane of the basket where the surround's going to rest. And you can be even more generous with this stuff. My arthritis is loving the cold, I'll tell you that. Ouch. Having to squeeze that. Okay, let's put the cap on so that we don't get a big blob of it where I'm working. Now we're going to take our foam surround and we're going to try to get it as equal on here as we can. And we're going to be centering the cone and stuff while it's going down. Now thankfully this is almost the perfect size of the basket, so I'll get the basket part centered up against the edge like this. I'm just pushing it up against the edge, and then I'll start clamping it down to distribute the adhesive amongst the surround. And you are going to have to babysit this. You can't just walk away from it because it's going to want to come up and come loose and all that. And then I'll nominally just push this down against the cone to distribute it, but you're going to have to center it while it's drying, which is why you have to babysit it. Because you can hear it's rubbing right now because I just applied pressure there. So we're going to have to manipulate this so that we don't get rub and that it dries that way. So this is going to take me a little bit, but once it dries tacky enough, then I'll show you the difference of its operation. So this is after about a minute. You can still got spots here peeling up that I have to kind of tamp down. And what I'll do periodically as it's drying is I'll tap very lightly on the cone here and listen for an erratic or abnormal sound indicating that it's rubbing. See how that sounds different than this? This is rub. So we need to pull it in the other direction, press the surround back down very lightly, just enough to seat it, and then do our tap test again. If it sounds normal, you just keep going and keep checking it until everything is dry. Don't stop until you don't see any edges peeling up and everything is dry and you know it's centered. And if you got pesky paces that keep peeling up like this, you can go underneath with your fingernail and brace it against the back side of the cone while you press with your thumb to squeeze it and help better distribute the glue and help it seat better. And you can do that as much as you're physically allowed by the basket to do so. We're just going to kind of go around here, do our, see I got a rub there, so I got to recenter it. And you just keep doing that until it's dry. Fun, fun. Now when your surround is, I was going to say dry enough, but this one's obviously not dry enough. Anyways, when it's dry enough, you want to find your screw holes. And you want to take your thumb and pinch to make a little indent so you know where they're at. And then get your X-Acto out and cut out the holes for the screws to go through. And also take care when tightening them down, because they're going to want to pull your surround free when you tighten the screws down. But this isn't quite dry yet. Probably needs about another 10 minutes before I start doing the rest of these. But you need to make these holes so that your screws, your mounting screws, can go through. Otherwise you'll just completely tear it when you try to push the screw through the hole for the mounting flange. So I'm going to wait for this to dry a little bit longer, and then we'll do all the rest of the holes. Okay, so now that this is dried a little bit more, you can see I've kind of cut out the screw holes here. You can help mitigate tearing by getting little washers to go underneath, or you can just be really careful when you reinsert this to apply pressure while the screw, or adjacent to the screw, let's try this again. Downward pressure on the edges adjacent to the screw as you're tightening down, so that it has a lesser tendency to want to stretch or tear. So let's set this back in the cabinet and I'll show you what I mean. So now that we're back in the cabinet, I'm just going to grab a screw here. Yeah, that's a good enough angle to see. I'm going to put it down in here. And you'll see as I begin to tighten it, it will start to pull on the surround. You need to observe where it's pulling at. Okay, it's on the other side actually. So if we come over here and we watch at the head of the screw, we can see how it's pulling up on that. So what you need to do is you need to apply pressure as you're putting the screw, tightening the screw down, so that it doesn't tear it up. And I rock it back and forth while I'm trying to apply pressure to make sure that it seats and it doesn't pull it up. Ah, crap. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. But yeah, apply downward pressure around it to prevent this from twisting or tearing up. Here's another one. Let's see if this better illustrates it. See how it's wanting to pull it up as I turn it like that? See that? So you have to apply downward pressure. I'll just put my 2 fingers here as I have my other hand turning the screw down so that these don't get pulled up or torn. Okay, so we got all the screws in. This one you can see I didn't apply enough downward pressure and it kind of got a little bit pissed off. And you can try rocking it back and forth as you tighten to try to correct that. Yeah, let me see if I can reseat this one. Yeah, it's a little better, a little bit of a gap there, but you can mitigate this by getting washers that are slightly bigger than the screw heads by about 1 millimeter or so, and just lay those down and then put the screw down in. But it's holding, it's not peeling up anywhere, which is good. It's nice and flat. So yeah, this one's done, and you can just take a look at the amount of excursion you get just even with a light press. The cabinet dampening definitely controls a lot of that movement, so I wouldn't worry too much about bottoming it out unless you're putting some scary amount of power through it, like 150 or 200 watts. But the other set of these that I have that I did this on just really livens up the bass and makes it a lot more smoother, less boomy, less muddy. So if you got a pair of sp-3000s, again, clean off the old paper. Use the JBL 2235. I think the 2215 will work. It's a short roll. It doesn't stand up high. It doesn't bump into the grill. You can reattach your beauty pieces if you want to. I really don't care. These are ugly speakers. They're not going in a living room or anywhere fancy. So they just are going to look how they look. I have the grills, but the grills aren't in the best of shape either. So I keep them because I like the sound of them. They sound a whole hell of a lot better once you get the surrounds problem fixed. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the little short video. Hope to get more stuff up either by the end of the year or early next year. But in any case, thanks for watching. More stuff to come.